Hey everybody, this is Chintua, your happiness specialist. This is my contribution for day 2 in the Heal business class. I am excited to be a part of this group. I mean, from the challenge, the I am 21 day challenge, to the videos countless videos that Stephen Munson has, shared with us. I mean, the magnificent and powerful videos that, I'm pretty sure if you're watching me with this video, you've seen Stephen's videos. You will agree with me that he is a powerful speaker. He's an inspirational leader. He is truly the captain of this business class. And today in business class day 2, I want to share my contribution, and I'm going to share a quick story with you. And in this story, it's a story about something that I truly believe in. There's a quote that I saw a long time ago. It goes like this. It's a quote about kindness and being mindful of other people. It goes like this, and I quote: "Everyone that you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, so be kind, always. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, so be kind, always." Now, I use that quote to close most of my videos that I do. And the reason for that is because I've been influenced by that quote ever since I saw it. And I think it's very powerful. I think it's very inspirational. I think it's very informative. And I think it catches your attention to be able to empathize with other people. Now, the quick story I want to share with you, I'm a retired New York City police officer. And when I was retiring, my goal was to not really work unless I wanted to. And I was home for a year. I was home for a whole year, and it was exactly almost a year to the date when I went back to work. I currently work as a security officer at one of the hospitals here in Western Florida. And part of what I do is you get to interact with people, all kinds of people, nice people, kind people, not so nice people, people that are coming into the emergency room sick, dejected, uninspired, and people that have gone through, withdrawals of different things, people that come in OD'd, just, a myriad of different people. And when I say to you different types of people, believe me, I get to see different sides of humanity, just like I used to experience when I was a full-time police officer in New York City. And just a couple of days ago, I had an experience that challenged that quote that I just shared with you before, that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind, always. So this young lady walks in, right? I'm not going to tell you what her race, is, because that's really irrelevant. Because I saw her as a human being, somebody that's coming to the ER, sick and wanted to be taken care of. But because that was what she was concerned about. That was the only thing that was on her mind, nothing else. That she was unwell, and she came to the emergency room hoping that by the time she walked out, she would be well. So I am, in front of a magnetometer, which is, to a layperson, is a metal detector. You walk through, if you have anything metallic on you, it will go off. It will beep, just like you would go through the airports with the TSA, or you go to the courthouse. So, and there are certain questions we ask of everybody that's coming through. To you, if you have a pocketbook or a bag, well, we ask you, do you have any kind of weapon, pepper spray, knives, guns, whatever. And you try. Sometimes the way I work, I make light of the situation, and I try to get people to relax, so they're not so tense when they come in. And I would, ask things like, do you have a bazooka, machine gun, in a little pocketbook? And that's supposed to be funny. Some people get it, some don't. So anyway, back to the story. This young lady is coming in, and right away, I'm very good at reading body language, based on my training as a police officer. I'm very good at reading people's faces, expressions, and body language. I knew that she didn't want to talk to anybody. She was not at the hospital to converse or interact with anybody. She just came to be taken care of. So, having noticed all of that, I ushered her in. She came in, and I said to her, "Are you coming to visit, or are you coming to be seen? Are you coming in as a patient, or are you coming to visit someone?" Her response was, "What?" So right away, I remembered my quote that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind. I repeated the question the same exact way with the same tone, regardless of what she had, the way she had responded before. And I said to her, "Are you coming to be seen? Are you coming in as a patient?" She says, "Yes," in a terse, manner. So I proceeded to her little pocketbook. I said, "Do you have a weapon? Any kind of weapon, pepper spray, knives? Because people do come in the hospital with pocket knives, steak knives, spoons, you name it, equalizers or cat knuckles, So what she said to me, again challenged what I already know about being kind to people in spite of. She said, "You're finna to check, aren't you?" So I totally ignored that, and I went through her stuff, and I gave her her pocketbook. But what I did do, or what I did not do, that I would do with everybody else that would come through, I would walk them through the steps of checking in, which is not really part of my job. We're not required to do that because our main job is to do the security screening. But I go extra step and walk people through because most of them come in confused. They don't know what to do once they go through the security screening process. So because of the way she reacted, the way she came in, because she came in with an attitude, I stopped right there. My job was done. I let her proceed on to the rest of the steps by herself. Needless to say, she went to an area that she wasn't supposed to. She was supposed to actually check in with their express check-in machine. And I share that story because although I know to be kind to people, because you don't know their story, you don't know the travel, you don't know what they're coming through, because they have a story that we know nothing about. But I stopped there where I stopped with the process, not going any further. Mosquitoes are getting me here. Not going any further with her because I already knew that she was in a sour mood. I didn't want to have any more interaction with her. But so that's that story. Now, the reason I shared that story is I'm going to go back a little bit to my time in the police department. I spent 20 years, including by my military time back, 20 years in the New York City Police Department. When I first got on, I was gung-ho until a certain point. Towards the end of my career, towards the last 5 years of my career, my main focus, my chief focus was to make sure that I left people better off than I met them. If I visited somebody's house, if somebody had a 911 call, I went to somebody's house, or if I had an interaction with somebody, my goal was to leave them better off than they were. Even if I gave somebody a speeding, oh no, I didn't do speed, a violation ticket for either cell phone or stop sign or something, some violation. I made sure that even if I did that, even if I dished out a ticket, I made sure that they always remembered how I treated them. Right? I didn't leave a sour taste in their mouths. Right? That was my main focus in my last 5 years, on the job, to make sure that I left people better off than they were when I left. That when they would look back, they would say, "Hey, Officer Alozie, this is what I remember about Officer Alozie. Even though he gave me a ticket, or even though he arrested me, even though he, I had this interaction with him, either he gave me an advice, or even though he gave me a ticket, or he didn't give me a ticket, he was kind enough to let me go. and gave me a warning and made sure that they were better off than they were after they had an interaction with me. Does that make any sense? All right. So I always remember that to, to remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So always remember to be kind. And it's not always that way. It doesn't always work out that way, because most of the time, we bring our own baggage into a situation. We bring our own issues into a situation, into the job. So we tend to treat people based on what we're going through rather than understanding or empathizing with that person on what they're going through. Does that make sense? Because if you make yourself a part of the story, you are bound to give people a sour taste in their mouths, and you don't want to do that. That was what I learned during my last 5 years on the job, and I always remember that. Even when I would interact with somebody, oh, a beautiful bird just landed in the backyard. So always remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind always. And hopefully that story that I told you, hopefully it inspired you to, if you're someone that remembers how people treat you and you treat them based on that, we can't create a beautiful humanity like that. Even if people treat you badly, do your darndest, do your utmost, do the best you can to forgive, because it's all about forgiveness and kindness. You do the best that you can so that when they leave you, they'll remember how you made them feel. I believe it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said that people people may not remember what you said to them. They may not remember everything that you said to them, but they will remember how you made them feel. End quote. So that was my chief aim in my last 5 years on the job as a police officer. I always made sure that I left people better off than they were, than when they first met me. All right, does that make sense? All right, so search your own heart, search your own soul, and to figure out how you treat people. Do you treat people based on how they treat you, or do you have a true love for people? Do you have a true kindness towards people, regardless of how they treated you, regardless of their attitude, regardless of their meanness or kindness or what have you? All right, I always do my best to have a smile for everybody, because I want them to remember. I want people to remember that, hey, regardless of what you were feeling before you met me, before you met Chen, that after you left my presence, that you felt better about yourself instead of feeling worse about yourself. I want you to feel like you met a friend, someone that's loving, someone that's kind, someone that's, that you can, relate to after you leave my presence. That's always been my goal in life. All right, so I'm glad to be a part of this HEAL community, and I'm especially glad and thrilled. I am thrilled to be a part of the business class, because I am learning things. I'm getting inspired. I'm getting informed. All right, and I'm getting influenced by all kinds of people that I had never met before, people that have never met me, and people that I may never meet, and also people that I have met in person, people like Ace and Rich. All right, I'm getting inspired by all of you. Especially, I want to drop this name, even though this is my video, I want to drop this name, especially Adam Shelton. Every time I see his video, every time I watch him, I am truly inspired, because he is a fiery young man. Okay, so that's my story. This is my story that I wanted to share with you on day 2 of the business class. All right, so remember, in spite of your own personal journey, in spite of your own personal situation, in spite of I know it's one of the toughest things to do as human beings, in spite of your own personal circumstances, remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind always. And I'm going to add this. As always, always be loving, be loved. God bless you every second, every minute, every hour, every day. Be kind because it's on you and it's on me. Bye for now. This is Chintua, your happiness specialist. Take care.